What's going on, guys? It's your boy John the Liquidator coming back with another video, and it looked like the Fever president just let the cat out the bag about filling this roster. Guys, for this one here, we got to go all the way up to Indy. Let's get it. Let's go. Well, the moment we all been waiting for just happened. That is the Indiana Fever front office stepping up, talking to the media, and giving us answers, man. And I keep telling y'all, they're paying attention to these YouTube videos, and they're definitely paying attention to what fans is saying online. Because Fever president Kelly Krauskopf, she went out of her way to speak to the media today. Now, we did not hear from Amber Cox about this whole injury situation, but Fever president Kelly, she stepped up to the plate alongside of Stephanie White to finally give us clarity in what the hell is going on with these roster spots. Sophie Cunningham down. Sydney Colson down. I just made a video moments ago letting you know how they just passed up on Haley Jones. She would have came in and been sensational. Fans need answers, and they just gave us that. I'm done talking. Let's roll the footage.
About a potential hardship player, are you valuing someone like knows the system, has been here, is there maybe best player available at that position?
I think best player available at that position who can add value on both ends of the floor. You know, certainly we need to have someone who can add value on the defensive end. We got to have somebody who can help us navigate and get into offense, handle the ball. Since we're down to two healthy guards, the goal would be to get everybody kind of back to their natural positions if we can. But at the same time, we can't control everything, so we'll get the best player that we can get that will fit into how we play.
Do you anticipate signing a hardship player before Tuesday's game?
I hope so. I hope so.
Anything else?
What does simplify mean in terms of what this group is? That more so what you're calling out there and more read and react, or what does that mean?
I think it's a little bit more calling and structure in our offense, a little less reading, so that we can kind of predetermine a little bit more. Maybe giving three or four actions or sets that they can run, as opposed to giving them 6 or 7 options. So we simplify it that way. Who's on the floor with whom, and then same thing defensively. We like to get to where we can cover different players different ways, but we're going to have some players playing out of position, so we got to simplify it and just get really good at one or two things.
Yeah, the one that talked about kind of just not being in a rhythm after Friday's game. What do you do with all of these injuries and potentially bringing someone in to try to get into some semblance of a rhythm?
I think the simplifying hopefully helps that. Giving them just a couple of things that we can focus on, and we continue to really rep over the last 2 days on both ends of the floor. Knowing that some players are going to be playing out of position and freeing them up to stay aggressive and just play. That's the fun, challenging part of the coaching situation is still putting them in positions to be successful while it might be a little bit out. We're down in numbers, but we're looking at adding another player for a replacement player to help us with our numbers and try to get people healthy and try to get a full roster back together. I mean, games are still coming, so it's going to be an adjustment, but we have a good group, we have good depth, thankfully, so that should help us.
Are you hoping to have that player before Tuesday's game?
We're hoping, yeah.
All right.
Have you ever been through any circumstance this early into the season and such where you're battling 3-4 down? Like, how unique is it?
I remember. I don't, probably, but I mean, because, the WNBA, the roster sizes are so much smaller. So when you get down to the 11-player roster and you lose 3 players like that, now you've got to add a quick player to your roster. So, it's something that you just deal with being in this league with the roster sizes being a little bit smaller, and that's why you try to build for depth.
Is this maybe another perfect example of where the WNBA could get to, where they had, like the NBA has 2 ways, but maybe home player development roles, and they could be available in times like this? Would that be ideal?
I mean, just more bodies would be good.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Hesitancy and how it was leading to turnovers offensively, and you guys are all figuring that out. I get that. But with the injuries piling up and all that, how do you keep assessing and evaluating the process of your offense when there's so much changing all the time?
Yeah, I think offensively it makes it a little bit more difficult. We got to get creative. We got to get creative. We got to figure out who can get us into offense. We got to figure out what actions we can run. And we're gonna have to do the same thing defensively. Honestly, and from a rotation standpoint. But that's what we do. That's our job, right? Like we got to figure it out. We've got to get creative on both ends of the floor. But DB's absolutely right. I think many times, and you've seen it really throughout the course of early in the season, is just like unsure, hesitant on coming to the ball, moving without the ball. Am I passing it? Am I not passing it? Instead of really letting it flow. Part of that's still getting to know one another. I think part of that is understanding what to get, which actions we're trying to get in the system. We got to simplify in a big way. And then we got to continue to build and grow. Look, there's no question, we're hitting adversity right now. Like it's challenging. And it's still a great opportunity for us because it's not going to be perfect. It's early enough in the season that we've got a chance to really, I think, find a gut check moment, right? And who we're going to be through adversity. And, I think our team battled. We just didn't have enough at the end.
Does it take a toll mentally at all you come into the game without Caitlin, then you lose Sydney, you lose Sophie, and just kind of feels like things are piling up on you there in the moment?
Not in the moment it doesn't. And again, like we've seen this time and time again in our league, right? Like nobody feels sorry for you. We can't feel sorry for ourselves. We just have to figure it out. We've got to make sure that while it might look different, we've got to have fewer moments of breakdowns on the defensive end. We got to have fewer moments of a flurry of turnovers. We've got to have fewer moments where we come out of timeout and not executing. Those are areas we can control. We can't control the injuries. We can't control right now, who's on or off the floor. And, we can figure out some different rotations. We can figure out a different way to play. But we also have to be able to control the things that we can control on the floor and still grow in those areas.
What do you think shifted for you all in that 16-0 run in the fourth quarter, and then also the last shot? Just your thoughts on the last play.
I think in the fourth quarter we just found another gear. We found another gear. As much as the Sydney injury was probably a gut punch for us, the Sophie one gave us a little bit of juice. And so we found another gear. I thought our activity level on the defensive end was really good. We stopped being hesitant. We started taking our open shots. We were aggressive to the rim. As far as the last play, it wasn't clean. We didn't get it in cleanly. I thought we were gonna, the way it was developing looked like we were gonna have a good look, but it just wasn't clean.
I guess first, is there any update on Sophie and Sydney, or like the severity of their injuries?
No update yet. Wait to hear from our training staff about where we are right now. But no, Sid was in the locker room. I didn't see Sophie after the game.
Yeah, and then on that final play too, is that what you were looking for, the three-pointer, or what were you kind of looking for?
No, we weren't looking for a three necessarily. We were just looking to get a quick score. I think the three happened because it didn't come in cleanly, and there was a little fumble involved.
15 points leading to 30.
Yeah.
I mean, that seemed like the difference in the game. What stood out to you from those turnovers that piled up?
Shake the haters off.